In this video, we're going to give you 7 things that you should do before going live. So before we get started, I would love to know, let me know in the comments, do you prepare for your live broadcast before you hit live? Do you use a script? Do you use an outline? I would love to know. Let us know in the comments. And with that, let's go ahead and jump on over to today's highlight reel. Let's talk about the 7 tips for going live, Olivia.
Yes. So, the number one first thing we're going to talk about is doing research on popular topics. So, you never want to go live where, again, you're like, I want to go live. What am I going to talk about? I don't know. Don't go live if you don't know what you're going to talk about, number one. But number two, research topics that you're making sure people are going to engage with, that's going to enrich their lives, that they're going to care about. So, Brian, in
Mm.
particular, I used to be guilty when I worked at a radio station of doing these kinds of Facebook lives now. But as, just a viewer, I'm kind of like, okay, the sounds of people slurping and eating food and
You don't
all
like
of
that?
that.
You
Yeah,
don't like that
no.
slurp?
So
Oh man.
the trying out food Facebook lives, what are your thoughts on those, Brian?
Well, today I actually wanted to talk about this new chapstick that I was trying out. I think it's wonderful. It's really good. It's the best. It's actually fits our brand because it's called Burt's Bees. No,
There
people
you
aren't
go.
interested. You guys are watching right now, going, "Wait a minute, why is he talking about chapstick now? This is not what this is supposed to be about. I'm wasting my time." That's the way I feel about it.
Yeah.
If it doesn't align with who you are and what your Facebook said it's going or live broadcast, I keep saying Facebook. If I say Facebook broadcast, just know it's live broadcast across the board. If you go too far off topic, like they're not tuned in for that. They're going to tune out. Uh, it's we talk about in previous office hours, we've talked about the difference between the different digital properties. You have your
Mhm.
leased properties, which is your social media. You have your permission based, which means you give them permission. They give you permission to contact them, to give them notifications, and you have your owned, the digital assets you owned, like your website, stuff like that. The thing is, if people are clicking to come and watch that video, that is a permission based. So if you want them to keep coming back, you have to keep delivering what you promised. But if they come and know every time you're going to start sipping on a drink or you're just coming and eating about food, like it doesn't add value to what they're looking for. Know your audience. If you're a fast food restaurant or a restaurant, that's your audience. Yeah, go show them the latest meal,
Yeah.
the latest burger, whatever you have that
Yeah.
fits you. But if that's not your purpose, stay away from it.
Yeah.
Just stay away from
And
it.
I get the thought behind it. It's funny when these are like extreme foods, but just don't make it, a constant part. Like that's the biggest chunk of your strategy. And also, if you wouldn't open your mic and do a break where you're just sitting there chewing and slurping and trying different food, then don't do it on a live video. So yeah, there is that. But also, going back to research on popular topics, Brian, do you have any tools that we can let people know about to kind of know what the best topics to talk about are?
Yeah, and I know I see some questions coming in too. Olivia, if you can just kind of make a note of some of these. Um, we will be covering some more questions at the end too, if we don't get to them right now. So if we kind of just keep an eye on that, because I see some good questions popping in. So if you're trying to find popular topics, a couple of tools that, and we'll have these in our YouTube videos later on too, to kind of give you guys some more insight if you want to learn more about them once those videos start dropping. A couple of tools that I would recommend that we like to use is I do like to use keywords everywhere. It's a good tool. It gives you some ideas like on the average search volume and stuff. You can also use one of my favorites is a tool called Answer the Public. That is a wonderful tool, especially if you can do the paid version. It does amazing stuff, and they have training videos to teach you how to use it on there. But that is an amazing tool to help you find relative topic, relatable topics, or no, relevant. That's the word I'm looking for. Relevant topics. Um, and if here's the thing, if you're like, well, I don't have that, I can't pay for that, go to Google, start typing in Google, like where you're like how to, or how to deal with anger. Like start typing in like questions. Think like a question. And those little suggested topics that pop up, those are relevant topics. Those are topics that people are searching right now. So be thinking that way. You've got to create, those are how you got to find that content that people are looking for right now. So relevant topics. So you could we'll do some more videos to kind of cover that in a deeper conversation, but those are some options for you. With that, Olivia, do you have a question we should go to right now, or should we go to the next tip first?
Yeah, we can go through the next tip.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Next tip is creating an outline. So, Olivia, talk a little bit about that.
Creating an outline. Yeah. So this is super important again because you want to make sure that you know what you're doing when you go live. You want to have a flow to it. You don't want to be fumbling around. I actually have right there, we're following an outline right now. And no detail is too small to have on there, your resources, if you have to give details about an event or something like that, having those ready and easy accessible are super easy to have, and they can help, make your lives a lot more concise and smooth. So,
Yeah, outlines help a lot. And actually, even right before this live broadcast, it's awesome. Like my son, he's turning 18 this year, and he's becoming more involved with KillerB, and he's really excited about video. So he's doing a lot of stuff. And I asked him right before this, like, hey, you know what? I could really use your help handling the back end, making sure all the lower thirds pop up and stuff like that. So we right before live went through this outline and added little bullet points so he knew when to throw up the shouldn't use the word throw up. He should put up the the lower thirds, and like I just say what I think out loud. So that's part of the wonderful thing about watching me live. You never know what's going to come out of my mouth. It'll always
it
be
better be
clean
on
though.
that outline.
It better be on that outline. That's right. That's awesome. But don't be ashamed to have an outline. And I like to have it some people script it all the way out, and some people like the little highlights. I like the highlights. So I just kind of look at the bullet parts and then I just go with it because I know where to go. All right, next, let's talk about planning for engagement.
Yeah,
Olivia, how do we do that?
engagement. We are all about engagement just in general, but specifically when it comes to Facebook Live videos, you want to, make sure that you have someone there that can help you moderate comments, whether that's typing them out as people are, typing them and you're responding to them right then, or maybe you're letting a DJ or business person know, like, hey, shout out to this person or whatever it may be. You just want to make sure that you're not going live and planning not to engage with any of, the comments and things that are coming through during the live.
Yeah, and that's really going to be probably our next step is like, we like to engage with the comments when we're talking. And we're using the StreamYard service right now, which we're trying to get used to the comments coming on. It's a little bit different than seeing I don't know if we're seeing everything that's happening from all the platforms. If
Yeah.
you're on LinkedIn or YouTube and you're commenting and we're not responding, my apologies because we're not seeing those right now. But we know there's people on there watching. So you're testing out new things. But our next step would be to have somebody actually typing responses back to those people. And if your team is big enough to do that, you should definitely have people do that as well, because it does help with your reach as well. The more
Mhm.
engagement you have happening, and you're having conversations within those conversations, those platforms will give you more reach because of that.
Yeah.
Uh, so engagement is so important. Um,
Yeah.
and I
It makes, the listeners feel special and heard and gives them a reason to watch your live videos.
yes.
Um, so the
So
next thing we're oh, go ahead.
I do want to bring up this question real quick. I see that somebody said, do you recommend any free or cheap skins, templates we can use to dress up our Facebook Live? And basically, any resources to put up graphics or titles, or simply dress up the look of the Facebook Live. And this is Scott. So I think this might be Scott Harold, I believe, uh, from SOS Radio. I believe that's who this is. So, Scott, I do like the StreamYard ability. Like, I like this tool. You can do like You can do a lot of different things in here, like with highlighting.
If
You can do your
yeah.
brand color. You can actually do your logo and stuff too. Like we don't really put our logo, but you can put the logo up. Now there's a B right beside Olivia's head. So that's cool. You can create your lower thirds on Photoshop and stuff like that and drop it and have it as an overlay on top of this. So, and this goes to this Facebook Live. So right now, if I took me and Olivia off, I could actually switch the background here and we're like, I'm going to take us off the screen right now to show you guys what this looks like. Let's see, Olivia's off and all right. So you saw a little bit there, like you can have different backgrounds and stuff like that as well. So if you're looking for a platform that can do that, this is probably a nice platform to do. But um, Olivia, do you have any ideas? Like I think even on the Creative Studio, you can do some of that stuff now too on Facebook.
Yeah, I mean, even before I've been using StreamYard for a while, and they can constantly improve and make things easier. So this would be my number one recommendation for
And
sure.
I don't know if I think we mentioned this during the last webinar, but I will just let you guys know. Some of you, we just did an interview, a podcast interview with Joshua Micah. It was an hour and 20-minute long interview, and we were testing out the service Riverside.fm because we had heard a lot of great stuff about it, and maybe it was just a bug for me. But my videographer, our video coach, he warned me. He said, "Be very careful using that for what you're doing because there can be caching issues." And I was like, "Well, we'll just give it a try." Well, I did that video. Everything went great. After we hit end, his video stopped uploading at 28% and we lost all that footage. We even lost the good audio. So we have like a combined audio clip that we'll be able to edit, but it's not going to sound like our normal quality. So that's why we went back to StreamYard. I was like, wow, we're going back to StreamYard when we do these live streams because it's been a trusted platform that we've used and it's worked great. So hopefully that helps you out some, Scott. All right, let's go ahead and go back to our 7 tips. The next one we have is look at the camera. Olivia, you were looking to the left just a second ago. How are we supposed
I
to talk about these tips if you're looking around?
I'm looking at my outline. So what, and again, we're not trying to make anyone feel bad if you're doing this, what we're about to talk about. This
Yeah,
isn't, to scold you or say you're doing this wrong. This is just tips that we're trying to give you to help you improve your live videos. So what we mean by look at the camera is if you have a camera set up in your studio where you just have, you know, you can only see the DJs from the side and you go live that way, we would recommend not doing that because it doesn't give that personal live feel. To me personally, that just looks like you're checking a task off on your to-do list. Oh, got to go live today. Let's just throw up this camera that checks that off versus actually, using live what it's meant for, which is relationship building, talking to your listeners,
that's
and
good.
all of that. So, what are your
So,
thoughts with that,
yeah, I would
Brian?
like to give an example. So, can you kind of turn to the side like you're looking at me, Olivia? Can you
Like,
turn to the side like
well,
no,
this would
other side.
be,
That's looking.
uh,
Now you're looking away from me. You gotta be looking. Okay, so now we're having. Okay, I got to look this way. Okay, so now me and Olivia are looking at each other, having a conversation, and you might be able to kind of feel how awkward that feels for people watching live. Uh, it doesn't feel like they're part of the conversation. Some of the people that we've worked with, what we've helped encourage and help them see is like set your cameras up in ways like this, where even in a studio they can be on their mics talking and looking at each other, but the camera's in front of them. So the viewers are getting the feel that they're sitting in the room with them, not looking in a window just to watch. You want them to feel like you're talking to them. That's part of the reason, like for our YouTube channel, we're setting up like my whole platform here has been set up where I want people to feel like they're sitting on the other side of my desk and I'm talking to them one on one. So that's why we did this setup. So, experiment with it, do different things, but try to set it up in a way that it feels like your audience feels that you're talking to them. And it makes the engagement more real. And you're like, hey, let us know in the comments right here. What are you thinking? Have you guys let us know in the comments? Have you guys thought of video this way? About the importance of having the camera set up in a way that you guys feel like we're talking to you. Doesn't it feel more natural? Like you're actually part of the conversation? Let us know that in the comments. And I feel like that helps the audience want to comment as well. Now nobody's going to comment. It's going to be crickets. No, I'm just joking. But you guys see
You
my
just
point.
feel closer as
You do.
well, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of times when you're just going live with those side views, it just feels so far away. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, look at the camera. And if it does feel unnatural, this is a little tip that we give in the next YouTube video is actually, you know what? I'm not going to give it to you. You have to wait till the first week of April to find out. All right, let's
Look at
go
that.
to see. That's like a little like cliffhanger, right? That wasn't even planned. Wasn't even on my outline. All right, test your equipment. This is okay. This is number 5 of the 7. So we have 2 more after this. So number 5 is test your equipment. Now I can kind of cover this one, I guess. Why not? Because we did that before we went live, and everything went successful. And then when we still hit live, it's still something happened on LinkedIn. It messed up. So Olivia, explain, like when you wrote this out about testing your equipment, what does that mean to you? What should people be thinking about?
So, what I mean by that is, if you're using a phone, make sure it's charged. Make sure. So, even something as simple as, I wear glasses and contacts. My glasses, when they're all foggy, I can't see as well. So, think about the camera on your phone. Like,
Mm,
did you wipe that lens? Same with your actual video camera. Simple things like that can make a huge difference of like, testing your Wi-Fi connection or all
yeah.
of those things. Going live is scary enough. So taking one element out of testing your equipment before you go live is huge. Your mics, are you having mics on your people in the video? Just all those different
Yeah.
things. Small things, they make a huge difference.
So let me tell you the great thing about StreamYard, man, we need to get like an affiliate link for StreamYard or something. We talk about this platform a
Stream-
lot. The sponsor of this show, no, it's not StreamYard. We have no sponsors of this show yet. No,
But if you want to be, give
the
us a call.
yeah, give us a call. No, the great thing about StreamYard, what I like is every time we have a live broadcast set, you can come into the broadcasting studio with any guests that are joining you, and you can do a test on the broadcast back inside before you actually go live. So we test our mics. We tested 2 different mics for Olivia before we went live to see which one sounded best. Uh, and then we can check the cameras, make sure the camera's working. You can check your audio level. So there's a lot of cool things you can do there. We recommend even before going live, if you're on a computer, plug into the Ethernet. Like don't do Wi-Fi, plug in. So the little things like that can help you. Another tip on preparing, doing tests, turn off your notifications. If you're doing it on a cell phone, turn off those notifications because we've all been there. I've been in it plenty of times where my computer is ding, ding, ding. And I'm like, no, everybody's deciding to text me or emails are coming in like crazy. Something must be wrong. And I'm in the middle of a Zoom meeting. So, turn those notifications off. That'll help you stay focused as well. Next one that you have is stop and restart.
Yes. So, what I mean by that is, okay, say you start your live and you have some technical difficulties. Maybe the screen goes black or you can't see the comments or whatever it may be. If Don't be afraid to say, like, hey, we're having some technical difficulties. We'll be right back. End the live. You may lose, a couple live viewers, but keep in mind that people are watching this on a replay as well. So you want to have the best quality of video possible. So don't be afraid to say, like I said, having some technical difficulties. We're going to stop this and restart in a minute. So,
Yeah, and that's the place that we were getting to at the beginning of this episode was
yeah.
I knew like people were watching on LinkedIn. And I'm like, man, this is the first time, and there's people waiting.
Yeah.
I don't know if the notification went out, but I'm like, if I cannot get this connected, we're gonna have to reboot and start again. But thankfully, that's not what happened. We were able to keep going. We just kind of handed off and did a troubleshooting real quick. So don't be afraid to stop and restart. The last one that you have on here, and I think you have a bonus too. I'm just reminding you because it came up during our conversation beforehand.
Yes.
So hang in there, and we're gonna do some Q&A. Is don't wait.
Don't wait.
Don't wait.
Brian, as soon as you hit that live button, start talking. When Facebook Live first came out, people wait around and say, okay, I'm just going to wait till a couple more people join on. Let me take a sip of my coffee, do this or that. That's an old school way of thinking. If you wouldn't do that again on a microphone, while people are listening in their cars, don't do it on a live video.
Yeah,
Also, what you're saying to the people that have joined you right away, you're not important enough to me. I need to wait until I get a certain amount of people. Then this will be worth it. But,
that's good.
one person, you can make, a special connection and all of that. So don't wait around. Once you hit live, start your video.
Yeah, and a little tip there for you is, at the beginning of this video, we have a countdown because these videos are scheduled, so people know they're waiting. They've signed up to get notifications. So we have a countdown that starts, and the reason why we do that, people, if you're joining, you're like, man, why is there a 30-second countdown? Here's the reason why. Do you know that if you just hit live on a Facebook live, and I know this is this way on the Facebook platform, it can take up to 30 seconds for people to know you're live. So that's why that countdown is there. Now, if you're not scheduling that live video, when you hit live, it's not scheduled. You're just like, hey, we're going live. So you hit live. Now you're live. Don't just sit there and wait for people to get in the room. And don't, another thing to think of, that first 30 seconds, that's the perfect time to say, hey, thank you for joining us. If you're watching a replay, thank you for watching. Because guess what? The people that's going to be watching live aren't even going to see that unless they go back to watch replay, because it's going to take about 30 seconds for that to go out. So say that, thank those people that are watching a replay within that first 30 seconds. It helps them feel a part of it too. So that's just another little tip for you. So Olivia, I know you have a bonus tip that it came up as we were talking, and then we're going to get into some Q&A if anybody has any questions. So if you guys have any questions that you want to ask, feel free to put those in the chat right now before we wrap up. And we'll do our best to give you an answer and point you in a direction that will be helpful to you. Olivia, what's the bonus tip that we had?
Bonus tip might seem like common sense, but can definitely be forgotten. You have to let people know you're going live ahead of time. You can't just assume that people, are know about it. So
Yeah.
that's where, again, I would recommend stories. Those are huge for that time sensitive content. You could even, do it 3 days leading up, and then 2 days, and then 1 day, and then just that's the great thing about the timeliness of stories. You can do something like that. So yeah, don't forget to let people know.
So if you're still wondering, well, should we even do live videos? Let me just encourage you, be open to experimenting and learn from your experiences. Look at the data, see how many people are tuned in, and if your audience is engaging. You might be surprised with how well live video can help you reach more people. And lastly, don't expect things to go perfect. People are not looking for perfectly polished content these days. They're looking for real, authentic engagement and connection with you and your brand. So don't be afraid to go and click live and learn from your experiences. If you found this video useful, click that like button and click subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes that we publish. And don't forget that you can join us for the live office hour webinar every month on the fourth Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. If you still have time and you're looking for something else to watch, check out this next video.